Hey guys, another day of our quarantine. It's almost over. I don't know if you've heard, but we are supposed to have worship again together on the 24th. And I'm excited to see you guys. I'm excited about that. I don't think we're through the woods as far as everything, with the sickness and stuff, but we're getting closer, and we're gonna finally be able to be together at least in some fashion. So I'm excited about that. But for today, we're going to continue our study and see how Paul reacts and what he's focused on while he's under literal house arrest, because we kind of feel like we're under house arrest. So today we're going to finish chapter 2 of Colossians and get into chapter 3 a little bit. And today Paul is just going to talk about how we live our life. And again, he's focused on Christ and how we live our life for him. So let's go ahead and read. If with Christ you died to the elemental spirits of the world, why, as if you were still alive in the world, do you submit to regulations? Do not handle, do not taste, do not touch, referring to things that all perish and that are used according to human precepts and teachings. These have indeed an appearance of wisdom in promoting self-made religion and asceticism and severity of the body, but they are of no value in stopping the indulgence of the flesh. If then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is seated, at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory. So I love the analogy that I heard one time about what it means to be a Christian and how your life is completely changed. Christianity isn't just something that you do on Sundays and Wednesdays. It's something that absolutely changes the essence of who you are. And there was a guy one time, he was talking about, if you were to show up late for a lunch and say, oh, sorry, Malvin, I'm sorry I'm late. I got hit by a truck, by a Mack truck. You'd be like, oh, did you though? Because you don't look flat. You don't look like you've been smashed. And he was like, when you go into work or you go into school one day and you tell people, hey, I became a Christian this weekend, it should be as obvious as you getting hit by a Mack truck. Like your whole life, your whole existence should be changed by that. And it should be obvious to anyone you come into contact with that you live for Christ. And what's cool about this little section of verse here is he's talking to kind of two different groups. He's talking about how these people, one of the things that might have drawn people towards Judaism, and in the early church, you had a lot of people who were rule followers, and they were like, oh, if you're going to be a Christian, that's the Messiah of the Jews, so you have to follow the Jewish laws, you have to not eat this and not touch that and this and that. And Paul, and that might have been actually, you wonder why that would be something people would want. But in a world where you're talking about pagan religions and pagan gods and people looking for something because they realize their gods aren't doing anything for them, something like a lifestyle that promotes good living might be actually something that people would be interested in doing. And so Paul's having to kind of go back and he's saying, we don't have to live by all these different laws, because these are just actually the appearance of wisdom. All these things are outside. They're fleshly. The things, don't eat this, don't touch that. That's all on the outside, and it gives the appearance of wisdom. It gives the appearance of good things. And he says this is self-promoting wisdom, self-promoting religion, and it does not stop the indulgence of the flesh. And that's the key there. He's saying, doing all these things on the outside, going to church, singing songs, even saying your prayers and reading your Bible, all those things are great. But it doesn't stop your sin. It doesn't stop you falling into the trap of sin. And he goes on, he says, if you have become a Christian and you've died and you've been raised again with Christ, seek the things that are above where Christ is seated. He's saying if you have truly died to your old self and you've been hit by that Mack truck of Christianity and your whole life has been changed, then let it go and start living looking to Christ, looking to him and to the finish line. Set your minds on things that are above and not on things of this earth, whether it be rules or even things like all the things our check boxes that we get. None of that stuff saves us. What saves us is being changed. What saves us is being focused on Christ. And in verse 4, when Christ, who is your life, by the way, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory. It's saying when Christ comes back, if your life is Christ, guess who is appearing with him? Because he's your life. So today, I just want to leave you with that. Focus on things that are above. Focus on things that are Christ-like. Even in the midst of being stuck at home, and as we go back to church and finally get into these things that we do, make sure those things come from a place of genuineness, a place of loving Christ. So that's all I got for today. I love you guys, and I'll be praying for you. Continue to pray for me. See you next time.